March Madness. I was wondering what they could mean by March Madness when I saw the flyer on this workshop. And I'm not a sports person. So my husband said, I think it has something to do with basketball. And I thought, basketball? I don't know much about basketball. How am I going to talk about that? But then I read a little bit down below and it just said, getting ready for whatever is going to come next. And so this is a really good topic for me because I have been, since October, I have been ready for whatever comes next because my life has been a little bit, um, it's just been tilty. I guess that's a good way to describe it. It's just a lot of things going on. I have to be ready for whatever comes up. It's been depending on other people, other events. Um, I am living in Florida right now, but I'm from South Dakota, and just spending the winter down here. So we have family nearby, and we have been living in a camper. And now we recently sold our camper and moved into a rental home, and we'll be moving from this rental home into our new home, and then from our new home going back to South Dakota. So it is a little bit crazy, but I do have to be ready for different things that are coming along. Um, I've also been visiting my sister who lives 2.5 hours north of here. So I had to pack to go to her house. And I'll be talking a little bit about that. I've also been visiting at my daughter's house and been at various potlucks and different things like that. So that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about today. There's been a lot to be ready for. I always need to have my food packed, and my sponsor's been very diligent about reminding me about that. Even if I'm just going to church, she says, did you pack your lunch? I said, oh, I'll be back in time for lunch. She says, no, no, you bring it just in case because you never know. And there's been a couple of times when that reminder really helped because I did get back in time for lunch. And so I was glad I had my weighed and measured meal with me. If I'm visiting or traveling overnight, I always have my food for the trip, plus the first day or two packed, preferably 2 days worth, depending on if I know that I'm going to get to a grocery store or not. And that means really no, because I don't really know sometimes. Sometimes there's things planned right when I get there, and I don't have time to go to the store. So that's why I say 2 days. Um, and I always have my scale for replenishing my food in case I'll be partaking of somebody else's food, or if I'm going to the grocery store and having to refill my bags of salad, or if I'm going to be cooking up some vegetables that I need to refill my containers with, I have my scale. If I'm going to be going to a gathering where food is the main focus, which we have been to many of those, it seems like there's a couple of them a week. And that would include like potlucks or wedding showers, baby showers, social gatherings. I space my meals so that I can enjoy mine while everybody else is eating theirs, but I still bring my food with me. It just makes me feel more comfortable to have it there with me. I usually, a lot of times, I bring a dish to go with, and so I try to bring something healthy. And it might be something that I have something similar, but without any additives to it. Or it might be just a pre-measured of the same thing. But I like to make sure that there's something healthy there because at least at the gatherings I go to, there is 90% that's not healthy or 90% that's not good for me. So I try to make sure that there's some good stuff. I love the people I'm with. I want them to be healthy too. Um, if it doesn't work to space my meals out that way, I try to make sure I space my meals so that I can eat before I go because I don't want to be faced with all of those really good foods on an empty stomach or that I'm hungry. So I don't plan my food to be after it. I sip hot water or cold water while I'm visiting. And that has never bothered me to visit with people that way. I love the way our program has taught me to be present in the conversations and not be focused on the food. that absolutely does not bother me at all. Um, and I often have just go from person to person so that I'm not hanging around the food table. Because in my pre-program days, that's what I used to do, is hang around the food table. I was very introverted and shy, and having something to put in my mouth, something to put on my plate, and that other places to hang around or to go hide around the corner and stuff in my mouth. That was my modus operandi at that time. That's what I did because it was more comfortable for me. And now I avoid that area. I make sure that there's a large group of people between me and any food table. And a lot of times, if I can keep my back turned to that food table, that's really helpful too. I was just at a gathering, let's see, Thursday, and I made sure that my back was to it. And I was really glad because there was a lot of really good things that people had made, but I had my food and somebody else had brought their food too. So that made me feel more comfortable. Um, let's see. And then right now, my living situation is irregular, as I mentioned before, but it's comforting when my food is in its place. Every morning, just like when I'm at home, I have my meal, my salads prepared ahead of time. All my vegetables are cooked ahead of time. So all I have to do is dish mine onto a plate and measure and weigh it. If I'm don't know what's going on, of course, it's in containers that I can just grab out of the refrigerator. So it makes me feel a lot more steady in my life if I know that that is if that is um, something that's already done. And when everything else is uncertain or in disarray, I can count on my program being the way in its place. And my sponsor also taught me to go ahead and make my phone calls ahead of time and and do my reading, writing, and meditating beforehand, and any meetings that I have to go to try to get that done before I go, because then I can relax and I can really be present for people and really enjoy the time being with people. When I travel, I still do my tools. I My sponsor helps me to navigate any difficult waters that I might be coming up against. She helps me keep my head on straight when I feel scrambled. She's the objective, steadying, constant, steadfast, reliable rock for me. And I need that, especially during times like this. Um, she's she helps me to navigate my food plan when I have health situations going on. And my health problems don't go away just because I'm in another place. They still can occur, and I still have to watch that part of my food plan that I'm still following, the one that's recommended by my doctor, and that she helps me to manage. I also still do all my tools. Like I said, I do my reading, writing, and meditating first thing in the morning. It sets me off on the right foot for the day, and it helps me get my head right with God. I love my writing for planning my action and my food plan the night before, because having my action plan is how I make sure that all my program things are going to get done the next day. And having that action plan is how I know how I'm going to be able to space things out, or what I have to pack to bring with me, as far as food or needs for whatever. So that's one of my most important tools right there. But I write that out the night before, and I ask God to help me make sure that I've remembered everything. And then I can go over it with my sponsor first thing in the morning too, because then she helps me remember things that I have forgotten too. And even after I've gone through all of that, there are still things I often forget. It's just the nature of life. You know, life can be kind of crazy sometimes. Um, and I use my writing for processing interactions with people and situations. So for especially if I flew home to New Hampshire for 2 weeks in January, and I knew I was going to see my sister, who she and I have a difficult relationship. And I knew that I was also going to be helping my mom to navigate her first days in a nursing home. So all of those things are emotional and stressful. So it helps me when I get some time is to write about them. And it helps me to be sane and helpful and useful and a good person to get along with when I am with certain people or in certain situations. And writing is my best tool for that. If I'm overseas and I can't be there in a timely manner for my sponsees, I ask them to find a temporary sponsor so that they can have somebody steady to rely on, somebody that they can call if they need help, because I know that I won't be always available right then or at the right time, because there's a big time difference there. When I'm overseas, I also go to my meetings, and I use overseas or long distance phone services. So because of the time difference, I'm not always able to get to my regular meetings, but I can get to something. And the phone service I have only costs $10 a day, and then they cap it at $100. So to me, that's really reasonable for me to be able to do that and be able to come home and still be the same size I was when I left, and to still be managing my program the whole time I'm gone. So,
5 minutes.
oh, thank you. Boy, the time's going fast. I listen a lot of times to late night at late night or early mornings. I listen to recordings of speakers, and that has helped me because I did have regular OA meetings I could go to, but I wasn't really happy with those as well as OA 90. So I can find OA 90 speakers and I can listen to them when I'm traveling, and I can listen to them at a time that works for whatever excursions I'm planning. And I can listen to them first thing in the morning before my husband's even out of bed, or last things at night after he's settling down to do some reading or whatever. And that's how I manage my meetings when I'm traveling. I make my phone calls overseas, usually so the time zone can coordinates better. But I often prearrange calls before I go on my trip. I talk to different people who are in the program and ask them if they're going to be available at certain times of the day, or if they will would mind me calling at this certain time because of the time zone difference. So I get a list of people before I go for that purpose too. And let's see, I'm in this program to enjoy my life. And when the first couple of years I was in, I've been in 4.5 years now. The first couple of years I was in, I felt like I was in it to be in program. So I had program all the time. But now I have a different sponsor who's showing me how to enjoy my life, and that the purpose of this program is to help me to enjoy it. And so I keep my program in first place in my action plan and in my mind, because I want to have good balance when I'm traveling, when I'm doing different things, when my life gets crazy, when it's not my regular routines. Otherwise, I'm on like that three-legged stool we talk about, the emotional, spiritual, and physical. One of my legs on my stool gets off kilter, and that's not good for me. So I make sure that my program is number one still, even when I'm doing all these different things that I do, the traveling and the living in different places. And I have had to change some of my meetings around a little bit because I'm in a different time zone right now. I'm in the Eastern time zone where I normally live in Mountain time zone. So certain meetings that were convenient at certain times when I'm in Mountain time zone, suddenly we're in the middle of the day when I'm in Eastern time zone, and it didn't work so well for me. So I've had to switch a few things around, just back and forth with the discussing it with my sponsor, of course. And she helps me to figure out, a lot of times she's figured out things and she's seen into things that I couldn't see. And I thought, wow, that was so obvious. That's so easy. Why didn't I figure that out? But she's been able to look at it objectively. And I just really appreciate that. I used to gain 5 or 10 pounds on a vacation. I would, and there have been times when I didn't get it off. I've never got it off for years afterwards. And the next 5 or 10 pounds would be on the next year. The next 5 or 10 pounds would be on the next year. And you know how that works. Well, I love it now that I can go on a vacation. I can go to a different place. Things can happen in life. And my program is so regular that I am all right on the inside. I am all right physically. My health is good. My clothes fit well. And the main thing is that I keep my program first anytime I go anywhere. And if I have it set on my action plan, it's not a big
One
occupied.
minute.
Is that the time,
1
Jerry?
minute. Yeah, you have 1 minute.
It doesn't occupy all my mind like it used to. I'm very comfortable with that. And it actually creates balance in my life when other things seem to be, really racing along or curving around, going different places. When my program's right, I feel a lot more steady. I think I love to come home and everything is the same as when I left. And to me, it's worth it. It's worth it to go through any efforts I have to do to keep my program first and to do my program in between, because I love the health I have. I love the person that I've become. I love the people that I associate with. So this is Lynn from South Dakota.